There we go. We're live, and welcome to Flower Pros. I'm Art Conforti with my guest, and my guest is I'm going so blank. David McLamb of Bice's Florist in Fort Worth, Texas. And well, David, welcome to the show. I feel so formal introducing you. We don't have any kind of a script. We did not plan any of this conversation. This is a person that I met, didn't even meet him, but my daughter and my office manager met David on a trip for Teleflor's top member that I wasn't at. And they came back and said they met the most wonderful people there, and these guys were shining. And was Keith there too, or was it just you and Karen?
No, it was Keith and Karen and I. All of us were there. Yep.
Okay, and I wasn't there, and all I heard about was what a great time and how inquisitive you are. I don't know how that all happened. So every time we talk to each other, we have the best time. I mean, our conversations can never stay under an hour, and they're all hours of the day or night. And I just have always enjoyed all that you've shared with me, because David is a pilot, and we're going to have him tell us about his other life as well. And I just want to just have a conversation, the two of us, Dave. There's no agenda. If we could just talk about how you met Kathy and Tina, and let's just roll it into how it came about and what the experience was like, and how you felt about it, because you went back to flying an airplane, and you're still doing that now, and started a family, and so many wonderful things that I was able to appreciate, enjoying watching you evolve through. And tell the story so it's not our own secret.
Well, I don't remember the year, Art, but it had to have been somewhere around 2003, maybe. Two or three, somewhere in there. So anyway, we went to, I believe it was an FTD Top 100. That's I'm sure most of your audience know what that is, but anyway, we were invited there, and I'm
Just
the
in
kind of
case they
person.
didn't, just in case they didn't, Dave, I'm sorry. That's they take the top member. I think it was top 50. Give yourself more credit than you deserve there. I mean, make sure you get enough credit, because
Right.
it was a wonderful, very VIP group that I believe Teleflor started it, then FTD started doing it, and then what happened was I was just on the Teleflor trip, and I just didn't feel right about going on another one. So I
Right.
said, Kathy, Tina, go on the FTD trip and see how you enjoy it. And that's what it was. So you were in the top 50, I believe it was, David.
Yes, we were definitely up there, and honestly, that was mostly, in fairness, that was mostly due to Buddy Bice. He founded the flower shop, and I knew Buddy for a number of years, and I knew at some point he'd probably want to sell that business. I kept in touch, and long story short, we were fortunate to be able to buy the business from him, and it was a great opportunity for both, I think.
Yep.
But because that Buddy had established that top 50, top 100, we were able to benefit from that. So we went to the FTD. It was our first one, FTD top 100 meeting, and I knew that there were going to be the best of the best there, and so I wanted to meet the best. And so my style is that I'm going to look for those best people, and I'm going to spend as much time with them as I can, and I'm going to learn as
Good
much as
point.
I can. Yep, and I'm just a grasshopper, and I'm here to learn. So it wasn't a lot of fun for Karen because I was just consumed with yeah. I mean, I was just nonstop. And so we had a banquet. There was several of them, but I think it was towards the end of the function. And there was a banquet, and I remember sitting at this round table, and I don't remember if it was assigned seating or not. But anyway, I sat down beside these two ladies, and I didn't know them. I had no idea who they were. But in the conversation, I mean, and I think Tina at the time was pretty young, I believe. She
She must have
maybe,
been about in her 20s.
yeah, yeah. So relative to the folks who were there, she was very young. I mean, I'm looking for the experience and so forth, and so it was an unlikely match at the time, And then Kathy was there, and we were just chit chatting about whatever, and everybody's having a good time. And of course, I'm there to learn, and so we exchanged pleasantries, and I told him that one of the reasons that we were there is to try to find a better website, and she says, well, I know somebody who builds websites. Really? So, and Keith was very fortunate. Keith was a computer guy, and so we knew that he could do it, but the combination of him managing the shop on a daily basis and trying to and both of us being new at that shop, it was going to be quite a challenge to try to squeeze in enough time to really build a decent website that could be useful for the near future. So that was the short of it. Tina and Kathy told me about Art Conforti and Beneva Flowers. And then Art, help me with the name of the company that you worked with to establish that website. I forget.
Gravity Free.
Gravity Free, that's right. So combination of all that, we hooked up, and I just started asking tons of questions. So we exchanged numbers, and I called up Art, and we started talking. And then one of the cool things is that he'd have a long day at work, and I'd have a long day at work. So the only time that we would be able to communicate is after hours and late at night.
Yep.
And so that's
Yours
how it
caught me
began.
on my walks.
Yeah, that's it. And I would be out maybe trying to do some exercising on an overnight at some place in the country, and then we would be talking, and that's how it really began. And that was the beginning of a wonderful friendship, and also an exceptional business relationship that I'll be forever grateful for. And it really changed the direction as far as marketing goes for Bice's Florist.
Well, where were you going before that? I mean, when we met, obviously, we had a lot of people reaching out because at first the website was like, people didn't understand. It was like, what in the world and how much is it going to cost? And, people didn't understand. This was uncharted territories. Teleflora just came out with their websites only a few years ago. We came out before them. I mean, we all got into this together at the same time. And while Teleflora is trying to build something for the masses, we were building something just for Beneva, and then get a few people that might want to join us. And that's why we did the exclusivity, Dave. We weren't giving it to just anybody. We just wanted one person in a group in one city across the country, so we can have a buying group, a marketing group, and we can all keep in touch with each other. And that ended up going to pretty much the biggest and the best of the best. They saw that opportunity. You don't know how many people, every time I signed up one shop, Dave, somebody else would be saying what idiots they are, or I'm a genius, how did I pull that one off, or what an awful thing, oh my God, how can you make people spend that kind? I said, listen, the problem is you don't understand what building technology costs and the support that goes behind. And I took a big risk. I took a big risk bringing those guys to the table. Nobody knew who Gravity Free was. For the longest time, people were saying, I want Art's website. And I would stop them in their tracks. I said, this is not my website. This was what Gravity Free built. Then we named it Flower Manager. But I was the idea behind it, and Scott was the programming. But I'll tell you, we both needed to be in it 50-50 because without me steering, his engine's going to run in circles. He's running the engine room, I'm steering the ship, and together it was a match made in heaven. Now, if either one of us didn't work out, it was a failure. So there was a big risk because I bought my website first at top dollar, and Kerry Durbin came over from Adrian Durbin. I'll tell you what, that was 1999. I was on a Teleflora Top membership, and I'm going on and on about my website. I get so excited when something new happens, and and he just kept sitting there listening to me. He goes, I can't take it. I love everything you're saying. Can I have the website too? Well, Dave, my first reaction was, no, you can't have my website. It's my website. I think to myself, why wouldn't I let him have my, the flower industry back then was very much, this is mine, it's my secret. It's no secret. Like Walter Knoll said on the last call, you only own a new idea and a secret for a very short period of time before other people are going to be also sharing it. So
Yeah.
I realized quickly, I said, look, I've got these bugs costs, and that is a bug is a problem, a fix that needs to be created on the website. When you buy and build technology, there are going to be bugs if it's all custom. So I had a $15,000-$16,000 a year fee for all these fixes that needed to be done. I said,
Mm-hmm.
Kerry, if you're willing to share that with me, then you can join. But you're in Ohio, I'm in Florida. I don't see a problem with this. He was
Right.
thrilled. I was thrilled. We put it together, and then one thing led to another. Because the more minds you bring into
Mm-hmm.
an option or to build a solution, the better it is. So your brain, Kerry's brain, Reed Kellogg from Boyd's, he was one of the first ones, and Charlie Fisher was an original. These guys all start sharing all these ideas. David, it was mind-boggling how much energy and ideas. I couldn't stop. It was exciting, and we just kept building it and making it better and better and better. And because everybody was exclusive, there's no worry about competition. You
Right.
see, even today with Bloomerang, I won't bring two people in the same market together. Either
Mm-hmm.
you're on or you're off. And if you're with me, I'm not going to go to your competitor and work with them. I don't know many
Mm-hmm.
people that do that. And
Right.
that's what gave us the exclusive concept. Now, so you're just another shop that came along that wanted a website.
Yes.
Okay, Vices Floors, Fort Worth, Texas. I don't know where that is, but I'll figure it out. And off we went to see you. And when we went there, if I remember right, you were an FTD top member and a
Yep.
Mercury user, was it?
Yes.
All right, so you had Mercury, and now we're installing our website. Tina's over there doing training. I remember this was one night. I think it was about 10 o'clock, 9 or 10 o'clock at night. We went deep that night. And Tina said, "This is crap." I said, "What? This is crap." I said, "Tell them. They're the customer." She goes, "You want to just tell them?" I said, "Of course." You see, Dave, to me, if something isn't good, tell
Mm-hmm.
people. If
Right.
something, if you're doing good and other people aren't doing good,
Mm-hmm.
tell them. It's not
Mm-hmm.
bragging because you have an option to share with them. Why wouldn't you want to share your opportunity here? So
Right.
Tina said to you guys, this website is awful. It's terrible. Oh no, the POS. That's what this POS is awful. It's just the worst I've ever seen. I don't know how you even do business with this. And
Yeah.
Keith is defending it. He's a
Right.
techie. He can make
Right.
anything work,
Right.
but he's working pretty hard to make it work.
And,
So
and as I recall, Art, that was the. Do you remember the name of the software? I don't mean to bash anybody, but I'd used that software before.
Mercury.
Well, it was the FAST system. Do you
Oh,
remember
was it
that?
fast?
Yes,
I
floral
didn't
accounting
know
system.
that.
Yes, yes. And
So
there
it wasn't
is
the Mercury.
now. Well, we had the Mercury. I thought that's what you meant, but that wasn't our POS. Our POS was the FAST system, and that's
I stand corrected.
uniquely.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, that uniquely, that's how we, Buddy Bice and I ended up hooking up because we were a small shop in North Carolina. And so I asked the people over at FAST, I said, hey, who is a large florist in the country using your system? Because I'm going to grow and I want to know how they use the system. And so they said, well, Buddy Bice. And so that's what led to Buddy Bice and my
I didn't
relationship.
know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah,
All right. So Tina didn't like that, obviously. So she
yeah,
told you, and then that's when you guys came to us and said, "What are you using?" And we said RTI.
yep,
And
right.
that happened later. I remember. So you got the website, and you're using the fast system at that time.
Hmm.
So what was that like when you came over to the web? So what exactly was going on in your business? Because it wasn't just the website, if I remember,
Hmm.
Dave. We were talking about newspaper inserts. We were talking
Yep.
about reward points and lucky stems. What do you remember as being the main item that got your attention?
Well, at first we were looking exclusively for a website, but then shortly thereafter, we realized that our point of sale system was inadequate. And then also we realized that our phone system was inadequate. So that was a big chunk to
Funny
buy
how they
off
all
on.
lead to each other, right? Right.
Exactly. So, I mean, I just knew we had to have the website because of the cool features that you guys had designed. I mean, just off the top of my head thinking of Helping Hands
Yep, the
and
school
Yes
program.
We Can.
Commitment.
And yeah, and just on and on. And then how you tied the marketing to the tools within the website. I just remember I said, man, we have to have it. And we really couldn't afford it. At least we thought we couldn't, And of course, that's the number of hours that you and I communicated, and you helping me see that, in fact, the website was going to bring us far more income than we even could imagine at the time. And it really did. It really did. And then, go ahead.
But it's hard to see that though when it's actually happening because you got all this risk going on, money going out, money going out, money going out, hope coming in, hope coming in, hope coming in.
Right, right.
It's hard. It's hard. You don't feel as confident
Right.
until you get in the seat and start driving.
Yes, yes, yes. So it was a big purchase for us, and my business partner Keith at the time, he was very skeptical.
Tell them what they called me.
Well, the night before you guys were to come, I mean, the day you were coming the next day, Keith stops me. We're working late at night as usual again, and we're walking out of the building. It's, who's this art cat anyway? And I'll never forget that statement. And I'm like, oh man, I put a lot of work into this for him to doubt that much,
The art
But
cat.
as it turned out, Keith liked art, and it was a really good relationship. And you were talking about Carrie. The cool thing about Keith and I always thought that we were best friends prior to buying the business together. And so that we really started out on a good foundation. And I like to think of it as words and music. You were saying that you really can't do without the other. You could, but it just wouldn't be as good.
Right.
And that's kind of where we were. And then when we ran into you and your website and then all the influence you had in the floral industry, it just took off. It blossomed, so to speak. So, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so that's a good point because I do see it as evolving like that, like blossoming and just bearing fruit, and it just kept going on because, well, then, like you said though, it wasn't just the website. You mentioned all those other pieces, and many times people used to say, "What's with this art website?" And I used to say, "Guys, it's not the art website. It's the whole package." And people used to say that it's art. He gets in there and he just goes at it. Keith, I love marketing. I love to take something that I believe in and make it the best I can make it. I go all in or it's all or nothing with me. And I felt this was a great product. So, but without the other pieces, the newspaper inserts, the helping hands, getting involved with the school. See, to me, when you opened up your flower shop, you're a business of service. I don't care what anybody says. We are there to serve. We communicate with flowers, and we serve our community. So I went to the schools first. I went to the churches, and I said to them, we're going to give back a portion of every sale with every purchase.
Right.
But I didn't have the technology to manage all that till I got RTI. You see, when I got RTI in 1996, I never looked back. I lost my mind with excitement for marketing and tracking, sending messages to people that placed orders in the past, sending a preferred customer card. Do you know today, 40 years later, I still have people send out preferred customer cards, and they still work. Even if the customer just sees an envelope showing up that says important account information enclosed, they open up, they see the name, it's in their head, they know they belong, life is good. That's all you want to do is make sure that they know. So it was all those pieces, and then the newspaper, I remember that really got you guys running through a lot of ink and pens. You kept writing everything down, and Keith would ask me, you would ask me the same question. What were your thoughts about going to newspaper? Had you done newspaper before?
We had done, and I forget the terminology, but you could put a sticker on the newspaper.
Okay.
Like
just on the front. Oh, right. The little sticker on the front page.
Yes, it was either a sticker or it was printed as if it were a sticker. I can't quite remember.
I remember.
So we had done some of that, and it worked pretty well. But when we started doing that insert, and people could actually have a flyer in their hand or take it somewhere, it seemed it definitely was a big hit. And then we
Right.
had, you remember the catalog? You did a catalog that we sent that out completely separately and mailed it directly to customers. And I think
Right.
we even inserted some of those in the newspaper. I don't
You
remember it
did. You were
all.
very heavy into it. Once you got the
Yeah.
bug, you didn't let go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And yeah.
two things were happening. Two things were happening. You were building your brand.
Hmm.
Everybody knew Bice's. Not that they didn't know before, but
Hmm.
it became more understood that this is the place to buy flowers.
Right.
And
Right.
when you would put those in, we would put a
Hmm.
hard pen to that and go, how does this work? We're not making any
Hmm.
money. If you remember, I said to you, you're going to break even at best.
Hmm.
But 100,000 people are going to see your
Right.
name on a Sunday before a
Yeah.
holiday.
Yeah.
And back then, if you got a 1% return, you were a genius. It was half a percent to 1%.
Right.
Unlike today,
Hmm.
if people spend $7,000 in AdWords, they're getting a $42 to $50,000 return. And that's a
Wow.
real true statement. Not every one of them, but for the most part, they're getting anywhere from 4 to 8, 9 times their spend. And it's
Wow.
still mind boggling to those that don't understand it that it
Hmm.
works like that, because so many flower shops I see standing out there waiting for business, and they're like, there's no business, it's
Hmm.
slow. But then I see the shop down the street from them saying, I can't get enough help. What am I going to do? I need more help. Business is exploding. But one
Hmm.
person just said, in Bradenton, I've got a
Hmm.
customer, and his competitor is a friend of mine. He
Hmm.
will literally get on the phone with me and say, I don't know what you're saying because everyone I'm talking to says that it's really slow.
Hmm.
I said you're talking to the wrong people because clearly they're telling you what you want to hear because people don't want to say that they're
Yeah.
doing well if you're not doing well. But here's my thought, Dave. If there's another flower shop in your town that opens up every day with the same idea you have, and that's to build a business, support a
Hmm.
family, and make ends meet, then you don't have all the business in town.
Exactly.
If you have a competitor, we have 34 flower shops in Sarasota when I started in 96. I
Hmm.
started in 86, but by 96, I remember it was around 28 to 34 shops. There was only
Hmm.
5 when I sold the business. I'm not saying
Wow.
I took them all, but
Hmm.
that's what it was. I
Yeah.
kept coming to work every day thinking there's another flower shop in town. We don't have all the business.
Hmm.
Somebody's waking up in the morning and they're going to buy flowers from somebody besides me, and
Hmm.
I just want to know why. So I
Yeah.
sent out preferred customer cards. I sent out reminders. I would send out surveys. Like I would never start November 1st without surveys being emailed to all my customers that receive flowers in the month of October.
Yeah.
Because I had to know if somebody's not happy before you go anywhere else, please tell me. But for
Hmm.
the most part, they're all, good stuff. But you got to stay in touch with your customers. But back to my story about marketing. But Dave, back then you would spend $5,000 and you'd be lucky if you got $5,000 back. Today
Right.
you spend $5,000, you're getting $30,000, $40,000 back.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And here's something else I'm going to say, Dave. Think about this statement. Advertising has become free. Think about what I'm saying. It's free
True.
now. In the past, if you wanted to run an ad in the what, Yellow Pages, you bought an ad. If you wanted
Right.
to put an ad in the classifieds, you
Hmm.
purchased a column.
Right.
If you wanted to put an ad in Yellow Book, you had to pay for your space.
Hmm.
David, today you go to Facebook and make a post. Everyone sees it. You go to Instagram. You go to YouTube. YouTube is free. You can
Yeah.
make the most beautiful videos. They give you all the
Right.
tools.
Hmm.
What you have to pay for is the time to
Right.
build everything. You've got to be
Hmm.
responsible now for the content. And that's
Hmm.
why content's so important. Tomorrow or the next day, I've got a guy coming on from California. He's got a big business doing just that. He does Google Business Profile. And we started talking. And one thing that we both hit it off from the very beginning, he said, why don't people understand that the advertising now has become free? It's all
Right.
about what you put into it and what you're going to get out of it. So if you want to hire people like us and like him, we'll make
Hmm.
it better for you. We'll give you
Hmm.
something to track. But florists and a lot of people want to say, I don't know, it's going to cost so much. You're putting the money into your creative instead of putting the money into the yellow page listing.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I've spent a lot of money on Yellow Pages.
You
Golly.
did,
Woo. But
but you tracked it. Did you use the same phone system we had too?
boy,
Epitome?
I
Does
don't
that ring a
think
bell? Epitome?
so. Don't think it was the same.
Okay.
We used the Teleflor. We converted over to Teleflor system after we got your website,
Okay.
but we did get a whole new phone system, and we were able to. It was what was the term? Voice over IP,
Voice
and
over IP, sure.
yeah, yeah. And we were able to take. We had like several hundred phone numbers, and we were able to put a phone number associated with each marketing piece. So then we could track that marketing piece as to how well it did, And then we had, I think you helped us with this. Somehow we were able to track like a unique thing on the website or something that caused us to identify the marketing tool we used to get that use that campaign for.
I built a program called Floral Prodigy,
Okay.
and that was the piece that integrated everything and brought it together. I mean, Scott and the team over at Gravity Free were great about giving me whatever I dreamed up, as long as I could pay
Right.
for it. So, but they could do it was what was the key, and they would build whatever we wanted. Now, they weren't strong on the phone side of things; they were strong on the application side. So,
Right.
that was their strength. I brought in different people to do different things. Like we built an app after that. That was another development team. But Gravity Free was always happy and willing to help do whatever integration you needed to make sure the website can speak to whatever applications you're building out there, whatever systems that you're on or platforms. But the
Right.
main part was the phone system was very, very important, Dave, because I would tell people for the most part, it's one order on the phone to one order on the web. Now, it used to be 2 and 3 orders on the phone because people weren't so comfortable shopping and completing their order online until COVID. When
Right.
COVID hit, everybody upped their game, and now they're good and they're comfortable placing orders online. I saw the numbers change before my eyes.
Well, yeah, I didn't experience the business side in the floral industry and during COVID, but I can only imagine.
Yeah, everybody
Yeah.
got more comfortable, so it became what used to be 2 and 3 to 1 became 1 to 1. So if your Google shows that you've got conversions of say 100, you really have more than 200. And I got to tell you though, you'll find out real quick when you turn it off. Because I had that company, Coast to Coast Flowers, everything was on the web, and I kept thinking to myself, I'm doing all this business, I'm spending all this money, but I can't tell how much. It's saying that the web only brought in this much, but I know I have a bunch of phone calls coming in. As soon as I turned off the advertising, the phones dried up. And
Wow.
that's when I
Yeah.
needed to get tracking. So get this, Dave, this was the best part. When I was putting this all together, I had a Google number for the standard listings, and then I had a different number for Google Maps.
Oh, okay.
Would you believe maps were 8 to 10 to 1? So, example, you spend $3,000 on an ad campaign, you have 40 orders. I know that number because I'll see if I can get it to appear. I'll pull the report out and we'll show it here. But you had 40 orders and you had 300 something clicks. I don't know the exact number. So you wonder what happened to the other 260 clicks? Where did they go?
Mm-hmm.
You go over to the phone side, and there they are. And it turned out to be like between 8 and 10 orders to 1 because most of the people that find you on the maps are trying to get your phone number. So if somebody looks up your phone number today, they're going right to your Google Business Profile page, which used to be Google My Business and 6 other name changes that they went through.
Interesting.
But that's how that worked. So, and that still works like that today. So when I hear flower shops saying, oh, I'm busy. I had one shop tell me, why would I want to work so hard to get up higher in Google? Or why would I want to put a paid ad in there? I said, because you don't have it now. And I'm doing fine. I said, but you don't know what you're missing.
Right.
And
Right.
she couldn't identify, she couldn't digest that. When she finally did, it's like, put it all in there, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
whatever she was spending was coming back 5 and 6 times, because it wasn't enough that she could do it without spending money. By spending the money, heck, if you're getting a 6, 7 time return, why wouldn't you spend the money?
Right. Right.
It's just
Yeah.
hard to fathom that, because we're used to. Here's when you can tell if somebody understands pay per click or not. When they say to you, I'd like my budget to be. Think about what I just said. I'd
Mm-hmm.
like my budget to only be this much.
Mm-hmm.
Listen, if I'm turning $2,000 into $12,000, why is there a budget?
Exactly.
The question that I
Yeah.
like to be asked is, what is your conversion? What is
Mm-hmm.
my conversion? How
Right.
much am I spending to secure an order?
Mm-hmm.
That's the proper question for
Mm-hmm.
online advertising and marketing going forward from this day on. Always ask your vendor, how much is it costing me to secure orders? And
Mm-hmm.
then you decide how much you want.
Yeah, yeah, that's we first started the pay per click when we first worked with you. That was the first time we had done that,
Yep.
and that was a big leap right there. That
So
was
many flower shops laughed at me and they say,
yeah,
so, all right, let me get this straight. You're going to pay every time somebody clicks on your website. And they
right,
laughed at me, Dave. They laughed at me.
yeah.
I said,
Well, I've got to admit I laughed too, but then I laughed even harder when I saw the numbers coming in. So
because in our minds, we're thinking like all the competitors are going to sit there all day long and click
yeah,
on you.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
That novelty will run off real
Yeah.
quick.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you an interesting story. When we bought the business from Buddy Bice, he had 6 locations,
Oh, I didn't know
and
that. Okay.
yeah, yeah, and so we got this either 5 or 6 when we actually bought it, and I quickly realized that at that time, the internet was still really coming into to be, and I realized that those locations were expensive billboards. So my strategy was to find someone like you, and I'll always refer to you as opposed to the website. The website's what we needed, but it was really you who we ended up buying, so
Thank
to
you.
speak, because without you, I mean, you could get a website anywhere. That's the bottom line. So
Thank you. Yeah.
the cool thing about it is to, along with what you're saying there about how much money you're spending. Oh my God, that's a lot of money. An interesting little fact is we closed a store or more about per year as the leases ran out,
Okay.
and we reallocated that money into our website, paying it off, our phone system, and our point of sale. And the crazy thing is you would think that we would have lost sales because we closed a store. But not only did we not lose sales, but we gained sales. And by closing the store, we cut tremendous amount of cost. I mean, it's just insane. And
People
I
don't
attribute it
realize
all
what
to
it
that.
costs. They don't know what it costs to do it to secure an order in a brick and mortar location,
Oh,
because
yeah,
the internet makes it easy. Put
yeah,
out 100, get back 300 or 200 or 100. But when you
right,
have your own store, I don't advertise. I don't care. I don't need it. But
right,
meanwhile, you have 3 people doing a job one person can do. You have
right,
to pay for a delivery vehicle. You got to pay for the cooler. Now you have to bring in flowers for each location. You don't have
yeah.
any of that
Oh,
with a
yeah,
virtual store.
yeah, yeah, yeah. And the thing about it, I realized too, is that you really split your team up. you know,
Good
and
point.
you've got to be really good to split your team. And it's not new. I mean, it's franchising, but you've really got to have great systems, and you've got to have really good people running your system.
Right.
And we built systems at the time, and we built some great people, but we were all able to bring it into one location at the time. I kind of wonder and think that may be changing almost 180 degrees from that point, because maybe the brick and mortar shop is where it is now,
More
because
so.
yeah, because if you can control your market in the various regions and you do everything that you're talking about, because my goal was to find employees who I could invest in and do more of what you did for us. and help put them in a situation where they otherwise would maybe not have been able to do. And that's exactly what you did with us. I mean, we were doing pretty good, but you and your tools helped us to just catapult to a whole different level.
Well, because employees should be assets; they shouldn't be
Oh,
expenses.
absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
And
I
yeah,
used to have a saying that I always said you're either an asset or an expense. If you're an
right,
expense, your days are numbered.
right,
Assets, we don't want to lose those.
right, right. And
And
I could see the relationship you had with your people right off the bat. And that was really in line with my vision as well. So it wasn't, again, it was the direct objective was the website, but a far bigger picture was art and your philosophy and the person and what you brought to the table. That's what sold me,
well,
honestly.
thank you.
And
I believe.
I'll be forever grateful. I'll never forget it. I'll tell the stories, share the stories as long as I live. So,
Well,
and so,
well, now
yeah,
it's on the internet. It's there forever.
there it
So
is.
whatever you
There
say.
it is. So,
But you know what? Thank you. That
yeah,
means a lot
yeah,
because it was all about the people. I couldn't do this
yeah,
without the
right,
proper people
right,
around me. I had a team. They
yeah,
were just great. They
yeah.
took what I did. They watched me get into situations. They watched me come out of it. And
Hmm.
always with integrity and fairness. But you
Right,
can't always be the nicest guy to everybody.
right,
Sometimes you got to draw the line in the sand and say, guys, we can only go so far, but we have to
right,
know when to say when.
right,
That doesn't mean it has to be a bad experience either. But if
right.
someone's going to leave us a review, we're going to respond to the review. If
Yeah.
somebody's at the door at 6 o'clock and everyone's ready to go home, we're not going to close the door and tell them to come
Hmm.
back tomorrow. Because the one thing you can never forget in the flower industry, nobody needs our product. They choose to say it with flowers.
Right,
They don't
right,
need it.
right, right.
And we
Uh,
had that approach, and then I did the Yes We Can program because at the end of the day, we want people to ask us, can you take a teddy bear over with this delivery? Yes, we can. Can you
yeah,
still get it there after 4 o'clock? Yes, we can.
yeah,
And if you say that enough, you know, I mean, so many shops let people go away. Sorry, our delivery was at 2, our cutoff was at 1, we already went there.
yeah.
That's not fair. That's not
Right,
fair. You're killing the
right.
industry.
Yeah, yeah. Buddy Bice, let's see. He said, if you say enough, no enough, you'll have nobody to say no to.
That's a good point.
You know, yeah. I mean, but that one really stuck too. And another thing that you brought to the table that was really cool is that your network of people that you know, which brings so much more to the table. Because, like you said, when you're building your website, you'd bring everybody in, all the people that you knew, and you know everybody, and that was able to just feed on the knowledge base that would build a tool that would be more than just you or more than just me, and
Well,
more than just one business or flower shop.
you
You
know,
know,
in the beginning, I said to you, I was looking for one shop in every area. See, back then the
yeah,
president was Greg Kakari, an amazing,
hmm,
amazing individual. He taught me the business side of the flower industry. He
hmm,
said, "Look, use anything you want to tell Flora." They were there for me. They helped
right,
me build my foundation. And I said to Greg, "Look, Greg, we'll go after maybe one shop in the market, and that's it." And he told me, "That's it. You
hmm,
want to go for one? The big shops, they're the toughest ones to manage anyway. You can handle those; they're yours.
hmm,
But we'll take care of the rest of the industry. We want to be everyone's company to
right,
go to, and I
hmm,
commend them for that. It's an amazing family run business that
hmm,
even to this day I feel very I admire them a great deal. I
right,
met Stuart and Linda Resnick. I've been to their home. These people are real people just like all of us,
right,
and they're
yeah,
still committed to the industry. And you should see Linda's face when she brings
hmm,
out a new vase or she sees another great new idea.
wow,
She is like all the flower shops, excited
hmm,
and filled with
yeah,
passion to
yeah.
serve. And that's what we all do. We
Well,
serve.
and along the lines of what I was saying earlier, that would have never had the opportunity to meet the Resnick family, but I was able to go to their headquarters in California, I believe.
LA, yep.
Yeah, yeah, LA, and I just remember what a great experience and wonderful people, and I wouldn't have been able to do that had it not been, or we would not have been able to do it had it not been for you and your association with them.
Well, I feel like they've been a family to me. I've got nothing to say, but all I can do is admire them through the years. All they've done is open their doors, and to me, they're a forever family for me. And I hope
Right.
that I finish out my career with them. And I don't know when my career is going to end because I don't plan on stopping. I love the industry too much, Dave. I love
Yeah.
innovating new ideas. I
Yep.
still have some more in my back pocket. I want to get out and get going, and I want to always be partnered with Teleflor, and I hope that'll continue that way because that's the kind of company I'm proud to say that I work together with them. Not for them, together, because they give you
Exactly.
everything you need to run your store from start to finish. Do you ever think about that, Dave?
Wow.
I mean, you can buy your wholesale flowers for them and pay in 38 days. You can do your credit card clearing, your POS. You got a website, and now their websites are, as far as I'm concerned, as good as any out there. Them and Gravity Free are the tops. What more could you want? But most of the flower shops don't have the ability to run them like we had to run our sites. You saw all the work you have to do to run that website. It's a lot of manpower. So what does Teleflor do? We'll run it for you.
Right.
How about just saying thank you? What a
Right.
great company.
Right. 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 Well, I didn't know that. I
Guys
didn't
like
know.
Jack
sorry.
Howard, Rich Savaggio, so many of these guys are lifetimers. They've been there for over 20, 25 years and more.
Wow.
And these are guys that were there when I was starting out. And they're still with the same passion and everyone's evolving together. So in a day and age when everyone's leaving for the next shiny object, I think there's a lot to say thank you to and to know that core family still exists and hopefully will be here for many more years to come.
Got to remember your roots, man.
I so believe in that. I love my roots, and I just sometimes I refer too much to my past. I've been told, but hey, if it was a good run, why wouldn't you want to?
Exactly. Exactly.
Keith, I'm just telling you, it's just meeting Keith, meeting you, growing together, being on so many trips. I just want to say it's been a great partnership, friendship, and just being out on this call together and reflecting like we did before the call. I mean, you're the only person I can see myself not having to make notes. Of course, Walter Knoll, he's just an encyclopedia of knowledge, but there's certain core people in the industry that you don't need a lot of notes. You just need to just roll with it. Is there anything that you'd like to close out with before we wrap things up there, David? Anything that we didn't touch on that you want to bring up?
Well, again, I want to thank you. You know, you're the website was one thing, and the point of sale, and the business relationships, and everything. But at the end of the day, it comes down to people in my book, and we were in the people business.
Yeah.
And you were the kind of people, so to speak, that I was looking for, and I felt like I was that for you. And like Keith and I, it was words and music, and I felt like that was the same with you. And it was a wonderful dance. I mean, it was a great time. I love business. I love the flower business. I wish I was still in it. But it was a wonderful time. And I'll say I'll forever be grateful to you and your family. You know,
thank you.
Yeah.
And same here. And, you know, many times we needed your buying power to reach our numbers to get the prices down for the smaller shops.
Right.
You know, we took everybody in, big or small, and some of the smaller shops didn't have the ability to buy the numbers that you could buy. And because you were able to do that, though, David, you gave us a chance to give people that were smaller the opportunity to have a nice custom catalog for a very small price compared to anything else out there. So you helped us just as much.
I remember that. I'd forgotten that part. And I remember us talking about, you know, if you'll buy this many, then that would allow some other shops to get it at a better price. And that's what I mean, another testament to your leadership.
Well, that's how I felt. I felt like it's all about the people. It's all about giving back and helping them get a chance. And I can give you over a dozen shops that were tiny when I met them. One guy in Ohio. I don't want to throw a bunch of names out because I'll miss somebody. But he was telling me he does one order a day. So I said, so if I can get you 2 orders or 3, then I will double or triple. He goes, I'll be ecstatic if you can get me 3 orders a day.
I love it.
He's doing 15 to 20 orders a day.
Love it.
And those are the kind of things that inspire me. So when I hear people say, there's art, he's selling again, there's art, you know what? I got something that works, and I'm willing to share it. If you don't want it, I'll take my ball and I'll play at a different park. That's it.
Yeah.
If you want to share, we'll share. If you don't want it. But people just don't run like that anymore. They talk the talk, but they don't walk the walk. It is what it is.
It is, yeah. Yep.
David, thank you again. David McLamb from Bice's Florist, who
Hmm.
has been just a tremendous friend. Oh, we had that little plane ride too, right, in San Juan? How
Yeah,
about
we
that?
did.
Real quick,
That was fun.
that just came to me. We were at a trip. We were on San Juan. Remember,
Uh,
I was dying to have
yeah,
lunch in St.
yeah.
Thomas, and
Right.
I went to the airport. They're like, "You guys got to get here at 7 in the morning." I said, "I
Right.
can't wake up at 7 in the morning." And
Right.
then I said, "How many people are on these planes?" They're like, "What was it? 8?" Dave,
I
you
think
knew.
it was. I think it was about
I had
8.
my father, my wife, and you
Yeah.
guys, and
Yeah.
hey, we had like 6 or 7 already. Let's take our own plane.
Right. Yeah. I
We
remember
took the
that.
plane, we went to St. Thomas, we had a great lunch, and we flew
Yeah.
back. It
That's it.
sounded so much more extravagant than it was. It was
Yeah.
simply an 8-seater. We took our own plane and made it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a great
Those are great
time.
times. And
It is.
that's where I want to say thank you to FTD. Thank you for Teleflora because they gave us a chance to make these memories that
They did.
I
They
don't know if
did.
this will continue again or if they're going to continue, but it was a great run while we had it.
Absolutely. It was, my friend.
David, thanks again. I'm going to try to land this baby, sort of speak the words that you're familiar with, and we'll see how it goes. Just buckle up, and I'm going to hit some buttons and see what happens.
All right. Let's do it.
Thanks, Dave. Our next one's going to come up. We've got some tech talk coming up and more florists than ever. Stay in touch with us and see what's up next, because clearly I'm not an expert at this, but I'll
Yeah.
figure it out.
Yeah.